Hi, this is Lori McCabe from the SMB Group, and today I'm talking to Vinay Pai, who leads the Intuit Developer Group. And Vinay is going to talk to us about how small businesses can streamline their operations and better run their businesses, not only through the cloud, but by integrating the different applications that they use. And I think it will be really interesting to kind of compare notes on what we see in some of our SMB group research and then what you're seeing among the Intuit small business customers. We've really seen the cloud software service model, whatever we want to call it, making it a lot easier, even for very small business and solopreneurs, to access and use more business applications. But most small businesses haven't fully integrated or maybe even partially integrated these applications and haven't probably adopted a cloud platform. So what are you seeing in terms of cloud adoption and integration among the Intuit customer base?
Yeah, so Lori, we're seeing a lot of the same trends you're seeing in your SMB group. Over the last few years, businesses actually have been moving to the cloud. So I've been with Intuit 7 years, and then even over the last 7 years, we've seen more of our new customers pick our online QuickBooks over our desktop. I think even in the last year, 80% of our new customers actually picked the cloud solution for accounting.
Wow.
And then when they do that, they have payroll, they have payments in the cloud. What we're actually seeing with QuickBooks is our base is growing 40% each year in the U.S., and actually it's doubling outside of the U.S. So even globally, small businesses are picking the cloud. Last year, we actually did a study, and that finds some of the same things you've seen on your blog and your SMB group study. We're seeing that small businesses actually use applications during their day-to-day. They spend almost $630 a year on software to run their business.
Right, and more of it in the cloud.
Yeah, and the neat thing is businesses have an expectation for these things to work together. Everyone's using consumer apps like Facebook, or they're on Twitter,
Gmail,
and all these things actually integrate together. So they have the same expectations of their business software, and so they're using, if they're using Amex Open or they're using PayPal, there's an expectation that those transactions show up automatically in QuickBooks.
Right, and they don't want to be integrating or manually exporting and importing or, even re-entering data, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So what do you see as the top reasons for small businesses to integrate business apps? I think a lot of businesses, they realize, hey, I'm doing this in kind of a disjointed manner, but what kind of gets them to say, yeah, I got to do something differently? What are the big benefits?
Yeah, so when they come to us with QuickBooks, we're a back office application. We provide accounting, we provide payroll, we provide payments, but there are other things they need. So, for example, if they're a spa, they might be using MindBody. So there's specific vertical software that they expect to integrate. When they think of invoicing their customers or actually receiving payments, we have our own solutions, but we're also an open platform. So we integrate with Square and PayPal and Stripe. And so if they're already using PayPal or they're using Square, they expect that data to flow through. Now, we've actually built some of those integrations to actually solve the benefit. Because, just like you and me, I don't like entering anything twice.
No, I don't even like entering it once. But.
Exactly. And so that data, if it's there, it just flows right through into QuickBooks, and that's the expectation.
Right, right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that most small business owners understand that when these different applications are integrated, the workflows are integrated, and they can really cut down on the time they spend entering and moving data around, which, after all, that doesn't really help your business, just manually doing those things. So they get a more unified view of the business. I would think see what's going on in the business more readily and, concentrate more on the important things in their business. But for a long time, small businesses, at least the way I look at it, have often felt that, it's too expensive or it's too complicated for me to really integrate. And, when you look at some of the integration solutions out there that large enterprises use, sometimes it costs more to integrate applications than it does to buy them and use them in the first place. So what's Intuit's approach to help them with that hurdle?
Yeah, and it's a great question. It's great insight because small businesses are very cost sensitive and price sensitive, so they are paying for software, but they don't have systems integrators.
Right.
So they can't actually afford to have someone come in and stitch these together, and that's actually the platform we're creating around QuickBooks. So with the Intuit Developer Platform, it actually leverages on our strength. So when you think small business, we actually, in Intuit have the best cloud solution and the biggest cloud solution for small business. We've been working with small businesses actually now for 30 years.
Right.
First on desktop and then over on cloud.
Now, how many cloud Intuit QuickBooks Online do you have now, customers?
So we actually have 1.2 million paid
Wow.
customers in the cloud.
Wow.
Yeah, and
It's
we're
really
growing
grown.
40% a year. And so the thing that we're doing with these apps is we understand our customers. Intuit's very customer back. And so when we look at some of the data integrations that I mentioned, like Amex Open or PayPal or Square, those actually are free applications. You're already using those apps. You don't pay anything extra for the data integration.
It's a huge benefit, but what about actually the challenge of doing it? Do they have to know anything to make that work?
No, actually, we have an app store. And so they can actually look to see, we actually first let you search for any apps you're already using. Because a lot of times you're using something and you don't even know there's an integration. So
That's
if it's
true.
there, we automatically sign you up and integrate it. And once you just connect your two apps together, that data flows automatically.
That's great. That's perfect. So, where should small businesses that haven't really gotten involved yet with integrating their apps start? We know a lot of the small businesses are using QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online. So what are some of the things they need to consider as they both explore maybe new apps that they want to add to help their business in certain areas, or when they're thinking about integrating what they have?
Yeah. So, customers starting today, they like running their business. They're not out there shopping for applications or, searching the web or, reading to find out what they want to connect. So we actually make it very simple for them. So we have an app store inside the product. And so we know what kind of business you are, and we also know what other businesses like you are using. So we'll actually recommend certain apps, based on the data you have. We also look to see what's
Is this
trending.
inside both the online and the desktop QuickBooks, or only the online?
It's primarily in the online.
Okay.
We do have an
where
app
the
store
puck's
on
going,
desktop.
right.
Yeah. And we're going to still support our desktop customers. In fact, they have about 2,000 apps today.
Oh, okay.
And on online, we actually have almost 400 published apps that are growing every day. And so in that app store, we'll tell you, okay, based on the data, these are the apps we think you might find useful. And then also based on other businesses, these might be apps that would be beneficial to you. And it's
Right.
usually free to try an app. So you have a 30-day or
Trial
60-day trial. So you can actually try out a bunch of apps and see what fits for you.
Right. So if you know you need something for email marketing or sales or whatever, customer service, you can go in there and see what already has the integration with QuickBooks. So you're not like after the fact saying, oops.
And there are actually two more sources for finding out what apps might be best for you. So a lot of small businesses already work with an accountant. And so accountants are using apps. They have certain apps that they know, they use, and they love. And a lot of those app recommendations come from accountants. So even in our app store, you'll find a little trophy that shows what apps are recommended by accountants. A lot of times, if you just also ask your accountant, they'll tell you what might make sense.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure most of the small business owners out there are asking their accountants for advice a lot of times, but maybe not in some application categories. They may not really think of the accountants like for marketing or sales advice, but
And a lot of times, other small businesses are a good source of advice.
Right.
So, if you just even ask other small businesses for what apps they're using, you'll get referrals. And then also with our Own It network, we're creating a place where small businesses can actually talk to each other. They can trade advice about their business or how to run their business. And you can also learn about apps there.
Right. And in the Own It community, is that something that they can easily get to as well?
Yes. You can get to that through our Intuit website, and you can join and become a member. So we're trying to create a forum where, as a small business owner, a lot of times you're very lonely. So we're trying to create a place where you can connect to other folks and get advice and exchange tips and tricks.
Right. And then I'm sure in the App Store, they've got also the benefit of all the reviews and ratings by their peers.
Yeah, and that's a great point. On the App Store, we have a star rating, and we also have individual reviews. So.
Right, perfect, just like Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, finally, I think you have maybe one of the most interesting jobs because you get to kind of look at all these partners and new apps and figure out how to make things work together. But what excites you most about what you do?
Yeah, so I've been at Intuit for about 7 years. I actually was on the engineering side, building our online payroll offerings and then QuickBooks Online and then all of our small business offerings. So spent a lot of time working with small businesses and understanding their pains, what they're trying to solve. And now with the Intuit Developer Platform, we actually get a chance to work with small businesses and developers. And a lot of these developers are small businesses themselves. So we're trying to create a space where they can solve, unique problems for our small businesses and also create a business for themselves. So it's a very exciting place to be.
Yeah, and it's great because before the cloud and before kind of this integrated platform approach, small businesses couldn't take advantage of a lot of this stuff. So now they can really use these different apps in their business and look more professional, look more like a bigger company. So their prospects will have, the faith that, that small business is going to be able to service them right.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I remember long time ago in my past, I actually had my own 3-person software company.
Yeah.
And, there you're just trying to figure out, okay, how much money am I making this week? Are we actually profitable? And how do you actually not
myself.
Exactly. And also, how do you not look like a 3-person company?
Exactly.
So,
how do I look bigger? Yeah.
Yeah. So the cloud has been great for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was all I really had in terms of questions for you today. But do you have any closing thoughts or anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, Lori, so just summarizing some of our discussion, we are seeing 3 things. The cloud has actually been growing significantly, and small businesses are adopting the cloud. Second, with Intuit's background, we actually have the largest cloud offering for small business accounting and payroll and payments, which we're leveraging. And then thirdly, we actually have an app store and application. So we've created a marketplace where third-party developers can integrate and actually offer their solutions to our small business customer base.
Well, that's great. And thank you again for speaking with me and sharing this information. Really enjoyed talking to you and hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks Lori. Great conversation.